what are the other things that just you dread doing in your business? These are most likely the things that take you a really long time to do, or you procrastinate on, or you know that you're always going to get a cup of coffee or something to perk you up because this is a task you don't want to start in the first place. Welcome to Strategy, Solutions, and Sanity, the show where we ditch the fluff, tackle the chaos, and get real about what it takes to run and grow a high-performing business without losing your mind. I'm Samantha C. Prestage, your host and no-nonsense guide for making delegation, team management, and operations simple so that you're not drowning in boring work, crappy networking, or endless just checking in emails. Whether you're scaling or just trying to get through the day without your to-do list staging a mutiny, I'm here to help you get your shit together. So let's make business work for you, not the other way around. All right, guys, so today I was inspired by a recent coffee chat I had with one of the amazing women that I know. She is just a high performer, very well connected. She does a lot of great work in strategic planning, and we were talking about what it looks like to delegate. And she actually said, oh yeah, I'd be such a crappy manager for an admin because I'm way too self-sufficient. So over the years, she has consistently worked in lean organizations before she started her consulting business. And so in a lean organization, typically where you are understaffed the most is your admin department. Usually in those small companies, the office manager is responsible for admin things, somewhat supporting the HR company, and some accounting and bookkeeping things. That's usually what we see in a company that's like less than 20 employees. And even if you do have an office manager that's not even helping HR, usually there's no dedicated direction for an administrative assistant to help the managers or other staff. I mean, I've seen large companies, $1 billion in revenue type of companies that are now just hiring executive assistants for their executives. So their executives have had to be very self-sufficient for many years. We see some companies with executive assistants that really do a lot more of personal and some admin assisting. And then you see some companies that are totally embracing what an executive assistant can do for you. And maybe they grow into a chief of staff position, which is awesome. Still, though, a lot of managers go without administrative support, and so then they get into the executive roles, and they are very self-sufficient. They don't need an admin, and then you leave your corporate role because you're excited to do your own thing. You become a consultant, and you're still self-sufficient. You know that you can figure things out. You're just starting out, so you want to keep your own costs lean, so you don't want to start with an assistant or anything like that. And maybe you're a little bit ego-driven here too, and you don't want people to think that you're too good for certain work, and the idea of having an assistant answer some emails or having an assistant do some things for you just feels very odd. But what's happening here when you are self-sufficient, you're splitting your attention in so many different directions. You are literally wearing all of the hats. And what ends up happening is they then sit in all of the levels. What I mean by this is if you were to imagine a pyramid for your business, I mean, think of kind of any organization that you've been employed at or have just seen. There's a pyramid, a hierarchy of tasks. You have 4 levels: vision, strategy, management, and execution. So vision is that big picture where you want your business to go, what your mission and values are, all the fun stuff of planning your business out. Then you have strategy, the plan to get there. So this is figuring out what is the way that you're going to achieve this vision. This is where you are goal setting. And then you have management. So that would be overseeing the work there. If you do have a team, then you're managing that team, obviously. And then maybe also looking at processes, how you're doing things in your business, what are the right systems and things like that. And then you have that last level of execution. With execution, this is where you're actually doing the work, internal and external. So externally, you're executing on those actual deliverables that you're getting paid for, and then internally doing all the things, scheduling, invoicing, creating the proposals, maybe making your own marketing content, all of that stuff. And so when you do not have a team, you do sit in all 4 of those levels of the pyramid. Sometimes people think, oh, if I don't have a team, then I'm not doing any management. You're still managing yourself. You're still managing your processes from start to finish with your client projects. And then if you don't have maybe peer advisors, you don't have a business coach that you work with or other consultants and entrepreneurs that you can just talk through ideas with, then you're handling all of these levels by yourself as well. So not only do you not have help actually getting the work done, you also don't have help figuring stuff out. So you don't have someone to bounce ideas off with your vision and your goals. So that vision and strategy rests solely on your shoulders, and management and execution rests solely on your other shoulder. And this is the trap that we get into with being overly self-sufficient. There is some pride in like you're bootstrapping it, way to go. Your parents would be proud, but it also kind of sucks. It's not a fun way to run your business long term. Maybe that's the way you did it in the first few years, but in order to work the way you want to work, you have to understand what you can let go of. You have to understand, what is my job description? If I am the CEO and also the consultant, I'm still responsible for delivering on projects with clients, then what are those job descriptions? When you're in all 4 levels of that pyramid of work, vision, strategy, management, and execution, there are some hidden costs. The initial obvious thing here is that your time is getting sucked up in low value work. You're doing these admin things. We could do the whole exercise of how much do you think an hour of your time is worth? How much are you spending on admin? There's $2,000 a week or $100,000 a year in lost revenue. We could do that. But oftentimes, if you're in a self-sufficient mindset, what you're thinking is, oh, well, I'm working the number of hours that I said I would work anyway. So maybe you're dedicating 25 to 30 hours for client work and 15 to 10 hours for your internal work. Cool. You have a balanced work schedule. You're working 40 hours a week. Most of the time, consultants are working 50, 60 plus hours. And most likely what's going to happen is you're going to get to this burnout and decision fatigue because you are in every level of the organization, which means every single task relies on you and every decision relies on you, especially if you don't have a business coach, a mentor, other entrepreneur friends that you can talk through with things. You're making a lot of decisions around vision and strategy with no one to bounce ideas off of. And so there is decision fatigue there. If you spend a lot of time there, then when it gets to some of the admin things and some of those routine tasks, you mentally do not have the energy to make decisions there. And that leads to issues in your processes, inconsistencies that your clients end up feeling as well. And overall, it's just not sustainable. You're going to get burnt out of doing all the things because you really are having 4 different job descriptions that you're doing. Now, if you are pretty self-sufficient, maybe you've tried to hire help before. Maybe you have a business coach that was like, hey, get a VA, or you saw someone else with a VA, but you didn't fully utilize it. So that's what my friend was saying this morning of they've had admins in their roles before when they were employees, not in her consultant company now, but as an employee, as a VP, or she's had admin supporting her before, and she's never fully utilize their support, and she never really knew how to use their support. So she would always end up delegating little pieces of the puzzle, and she would never delegate the whole task or all of something. She was always still kind of one foot in the door. What happens there is you don't feel relief because you're still involved in something. So even if you were somewhat less involved in a certain project or task, it still feels like there's something on your plate that shouldn't be there. So you do not feel relief. There's growing frustration and tension here. On the assistant side, they are not seeing the big picture of what needs to happen. So they're not totally learning what you want to have happen, what the expectations and objectives of something are. They're just seeing little pieces of the puzzle. So they are most likely not going to deliver something up to your expectations. They're most likely going to miss the mark. And you're going to be in a self-confirming bias of, well, yeah, I knew I shouldn't have delegated that in the first place. I knew it was better for me to do it. If you want something done right, do it yourself, right? No, the problem was that it wasn't effectively delegated to this person. And that can happen even if you have a rock star executive assistant. If you aren't fully delegating something, they're not going to deliver on your expectations. Now that's different from like staggering training and having them learn something over time, but that's at least planned handoff, right? You are just strategically approaching how you're going to fully hand something off to someone versus just continuously puzzle piecing what you're delegating to them. That's the trap that we most often see with people that have never had an assistant before. And you want to delegate because you want to get stuff off your plate, but you really don't know how. So you have this half-delegation trap that leads to self-confirming bias. So the very first task that I would recommend here is that you figure out what you want your job description to be. Start with writing down everything that you're doing or everything that needs to happen in your business. I usually like to make this simple. So every business has really 3 categories: sales and marketing, so how you get your clients in the first place, that service or project delivery, and then cash management. So how you're getting paid, how you're managing cash, how you're paying yourself, all of those things. So really every business has just those 3 main processes. And just start writing down what are the things that need to happen in those 3 processes for you to continue to get work, to continue to get paid, and grow your business. Then from there, you can just start highlighting and circling all the things you don't want to be responsible for. Or vice versa, be in a positive mindset, highlight and circle all the things that you do want to do. And then whatever is left over are tasks that you can delegate. We also have a what to delegate guide, which I can include in the links here to download our what to delegate guide, which helps you kind of put into perspective really what should not be on your plate as the CEO of your company. But that's a really easy task that you can start with to understand where should your time and attention be focused and maybe what can you start to delegate. That's step 1 of what could even possibly be delegated. Step 2 is then understanding how can you effectively delegate. Obviously you want to hire and bring on the right person. We will do a separate video on that, on really finding the best candidate to bring on. But you want to understand, once I have that great candidate, how can I effectively use them? A lot of times you are not taught how to leverage an administrative assistant, executive assistant's help. What this is going to come down to is 1, having clarity in the role. You understand what you want to be focused on and what you want your admin or your assistant to be doing. Run with that clarity. You can create that staggered training plan of you're going to transition these things first and then these things to them, right? You can have a staggered onboarding and training plan with them. We do that with our clients that hire a virtual assistant with us. But then look at, okay, once this person is fully trained up, what does that really look like? What do I want to see from them? What are the expectations? What does success look like? How would I know that this person is a valuable member of my team? Because a lot of times it's not going to be revenue based. You could make the argument of if I have an admin, I have more time to sell and network and lead gen, marketing, all that stuff. You can make that argument. But a lot of the times when you have an assistant, the ROI is not always going to be very clear in your revenue numbers. So understand what are the other ways that you know this person is bringing value to you. And how would you know if they're missing the mark? Some of my previous clients, when we're working on some team management stuff and some team growth things, I've told some clients, you don't know what your expectations are until they aren't met. And that's not a sustainable way to operate with your team. They cannot function not knowing your expectations until after they've messed up on something. So having that clarity in the expectations beforehand, it's going to help. And then just start thinking of, okay, if I was sitting on my throne, if I was a little ego-driven and I was, on a throne in my business, what are the things that I would say are, I really don't want to do this, or this is so draining? What are those things? Now, some of these things you need to do. Like, for instance, I shared this in one of my failures videos a few weeks ago. I don't always like looking at the numbers. I'm not a numbers person. I don't want to look at all of my expenses, but I need to. Those are tasks I need to do. I need to always know certain revenue and bottom line numbers. I need to know where we're maybe wasting money and what cash we have to make some other strategic decisions. Those are things that I need to know. They're not always the most fun, enjoyable thing for me. They're going to stay on my plate until maybe we hire a fractional CFO. And even then, they're going to want to talk to me about the numbers, and I'm always going to be involved in that, right? So there are some things that you might be saying, ugh, I don't want to do this, but they need to stay on your plate anyway, right? So let's accept that. What are the other things that just you dread doing in your business? These are most likely the things that take you a really long time to do, or you procrastinate on, or you know that you're always going to get a cup of coffee or something to perk you up because this is a task you don't want to start in the first place. Those are the things that you can start to hand off. If someone was your right hand, if they were the other half of your brain and you didn't have to train them at all and just say, hey, do this, those are the tasks you want to plan to hand off. Now, you will need to do some explanation. You will need to train them. It's not going to be as hard as you think. If you are open to clear communication and setting expectations with someone, and you've hired the right person, then training and getting to that point of like, they know me, it's so relieving to have this help, is not going to take as long as you think. And over time, you're going to build trust. You do need to start with some trust from day one, but I'm not telling you that you need to fully trust them with all the ins and outs of your business from day one. But you do need to give them some kind of leash. You do need to understand what are you fully going to hand off so that there is at least opportunity for them to prove that they are worthy of your trust, that they are worthy of handling more for you. So again, just understand, what do you want to be doing? What do you not want to be doing? When you look at vision, strategy, management, and execution, what should your job look like? Or you're looking at those processes from sales and marketing to service delivery to cash management. What should you be responsible for here? What do you not want to be doing? And there's your job description. That's what you're going to delegate. And then once you bring on someone to handle those things, have a plan, have an approach of how you're going to build trust with this person and hand things off so that they can eventually fully own A to Z of an entire task or process. If you need help with this, that's something that my team and I do. We do delegation and growth strategy sessions if you just want a simple plan, or if you want us to help you find the person, if it's an employee or a virtual assistant, we will help you find that person. So just reach out to us so that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to stay in all of those pillars alone. If you're not quite ready to bring someone onto your team and you're like, but hey, I don't have a mentor, I don't have someone I can talk to about these vision and strategy things, we also have a mastermind group, Growth and Action Partners. That's your peer advisory group to bring your ideas or even your challenges to the group so you can get some strategic insights and walk away with action steps of what you're going to do next and clarity in what you're trying to accomplish. So again, Auxo Business Services, we can help you with finding your person, or at least planning to find your person. Or if you want that peer advisory, then check out Growth and Action Partners. All right, thanks so much for joining me on Strategy, Solutions, and Sanity. We'll have future videos coming on how to find that right person in hiring and other ways to save your sanity in business. If there's something that you're struggling with in business and you want to understand how to solve it, drop it in the comments or reach out to me directly on LinkedIn and we'll create some resources for you.